Hi, so today we're doing the deadlift, which is a very compound hip dominant movement. So you can test our quadriceps, glutes, hamstrings, and also a little bit about our spine and core stability. So in the starting positions, make sure, again, feet is waist apart. The bar is close to your shins, and make sure while you're doing this, make sure you're imagine holding a pen under your lower back. So which means you can concentrate your whole back. And then in the concentric phase, you push the floor away, extend the knees and the hip together. Make sure the bar is close to your legs. And then in the eccentric phase, make sure your hip flex first, and then along with your feet and your knees, slightly, and then you can make a whole movement. Okay, so today we're doing a barbell squat. So this is gonna test our quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings, and also a little bit about core and stability. So for our first starting positions, make sure your shoulder and feet is wide apart, and put your hands on the barbells, which is as wide as our shoulder, and make our toes slightly outward, and then put the barbells on your upper back, not on your neck, which is the trapezius, and then you step out feet, and then when you're going down, feel like you're sitting in a chair, and then use your hip to flex. Remember all this time to make sure your toe is slightly outward, and then when you're going down, when you're going up, make sure your chest and your spine is moving together. That will be a whole movement for this. Standing cock raise is a single joint plantar flexion exercise that's targeting your gastrocnemius and your soleus muscles. So when we're standing in the standing positions, stand tall with a neutral spine and slightly bend. And in the concentric phase, lift the heels by pushing through the balls of the feet and rise to full plantar flexion. And eccentric phase, lower the heels slowly with control until the calf stretch. And that will be a whole movement. So tricep push down is a single joint exercise targeting the tricep brachii through elbow extension. At our starting positions, stand tall with a neutral spine, elbows tucked tightly to the sides, wrist neutral, and hands holding the attachment just above chest at the face level. And our concentric phase, extend the elbows and push the handle down until the arms are straight. Keep the shoulder relaxed and elbow fixed in face. And at our eccentric phase, allow the handle to return upward with control, maintaining elbow positions without flaring or swinging. And that will be our whole movement for this exercise. So we're doing the dumbbell bicep curl, which is a single joint elbow flexion movement that's targeting your bicep brachii. So in our starting positions, stand tall, shoulders relaxed, core braced, elbow close to the torso, and dumbbells by the side with palm facing forward. And in our concentric phase, flex the elbow and curl the dumbbells upward without swinging the body or lifting the elbows forward. And in our eccentric phase, lower the dumbbells slowly under control to fully elbow extension. And that will be a whole movement. So we're using the flat barbell bench press. It's a compound horizontal pushing exercise targeting our pectoralis major, anterior deltoid, front, and triceps. So at our starting positions, lie on the bench with feet flat, shoulder blades retract, and hands slightly wider than shoulder width, bar position above the mid-chest. At our eccentric phase, lower the bar under control to lightly touch the chest while keeping wrists neutral and elbows slightly reduced. At our concentric phase, press the bar upward until elbows extend, maintaining stable shoulder blades and a neutral spine. Be careful when you put it back. So now we're doing the vertical chest press, which is a machine-based horizontal pushing exercise targeting our pectoralis major, anterior deltoids, and triceps support. So at our starting process, adjust the seat so handles are level with the mid-chest, feet flat back supported. At our concentric phase, press the handles forward while keeping the shoulder blades retracted. At our eccentric phase, return the handle slowly with control without letting the weight step drop. And that will be our whole movement for this. So what we're doing right now is the seated dumbbell shoulder press, which is a vertical pressing exercise targeting our anterior and medial deltoids with tricep support. At our starting positions, sit upright with back control, dumbbells at our shoulder height, elbows on the wrist, core braced. In our concentric phase, press the dumbbells overhead without arching the spine or flying the ribs. At our eccentric phase, lower the dumbbell slowly to shoulder level with control. In this process, remember, if you're feeling pain in your shoulder, stop immediately. And that is going to be our whole movement for this exercise. So this is the lat pull down machines, which is a vertical pulling exercise targeting the latissimus dorsi with assistance from our bicep, brachii, and scapular stabilizers. So at our starting positions, sit tall, chest up, hand slightly wider than our shoulder width. At our concentric phase, pull the bar to the upper chest, driving elbows down and back. At our eccentric phase, let the bar rise overhead with control while maintaining rib cage down and torso upright. And then it's going to be our whole movement for this exercise. So now we're doing the bend over row barbell exercise, which is a compound horizontal exercise targeting our latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, trapezius, and our posterior deltoids. So at our starting positions, hinge at the hips, neutral spine, bar close to the shins, elbow straight under the shoulders. At our concentric phase, pull the bar toward the lower ribs, squeezing the shoulder blades back. At our eccentric phase, lower the bar slowly with control while maintaining the same torso positions. While doing this, remember, do not overextend our spine, otherwise you're going to feel pain. And that's going to be a whole movement for this exercise. So right now we're doing a one-arm dumbbell row, which is targeting our latissimus dorsi, rhomboids, and posterior deltoids. While I'm doing the starting positions, one hand and knee on the bench, spine neutral, and dumbbell hanging under the shoulder. At our concentric phase, pull the dumbbell toward the hip, keeping the elbow close to the body and shoulder stable. At our eccentric phase, lower the dumbbell slowly without letting the shoulder roll forward. So you're gonna lock in your shoulder all the time. And that's gonna hold movement for this exercise. So right now we're doing the abdominal crunch, which is a spinal flexion exercise targeting our rectus abdominis. At our starting positions, lie on your back with knees bent, feet flat, hands slightly supporting the head, and ribs down. At our concentric phase, cut the shoulders and upper back off the floor by contracting the abdominis and without pulling the neck or lifting the lower back. At our eccentric phase, lower slowly with control, keeping the lower back in light contact with the floor. And that's the whole movement for our exercise.